Welcome to Our College, Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. We are pleased to continue bringing you each month's President's Update in your podcast feed as another way for you to connect with this important communication tool at Ivy Tech. As a reminder, if you're an Ivy Tech faculty or staff member, you will be able to see the slides and script from President's Updates in My Ivy. I'd encourage you to log in. That will be on the employee dashboard in those areas. If you have any question about the episode, please feel free to reach out. And now, here, unabridged, is the President's Update.
Exciting time for all of us here at Ivy Tech. I've had the privilege to firsthand see many excited students who are walking in and invigorated faculty and staff ready to kick off this fall semester. Monday may not have been our prettiest day of the week with much of the state experiencing rain, but the remainder of the week has been glorious. On Tuesday, I was at Kokomo watching how they masterfully help their students in back and side doors as their campus remains under heavy construction. We were pleased to have our dental assisting students in their new classrooms and lab space in state-of-the-art dental labs. Though not yet complete, the facelift to the Kokomo campus is just indescribable. Likewise, we completed the ribbon cutting on the John and Janice Fisher building in Muncie this summer. Wow. Once again, their labs, their health science and nursing spaces are truly first class and will serve our students, our employers, and our community well for many years to come. As such, enrollment is holding where it was last year, not yet where it needs to be per our strategic plan, which, if you recall, is aligned to Indiana's goal of 60% of Hoosiers having a post-secondary degree or credential aligned with workforce needs. That said, we are now over 50% 8-week courses, which means we have a second 8 weeks to make up some of that deficit. And remember, we are serving that traditional student. And when I say traditional, I mean the working adult, who is now the majority of college students who are coming back in a way that better fits their lifestyle. So thank you for all you are doing. In addition, we have now launched Ivy Online. Thanks to the more than 100 full-time faculty and nearly 250 adjunct faculty members who have agreed to teach in our new statewide platform. Many attended the first ever conference this summer called Ivy Tech Online Instructional Strategies Conference to learn new tools and to polish their approaches to this modality of teaching. And we have all committed, and think we know we need to commit to eliminating the gap between our face-to-face and online instruction, currently a double-digit difference in pass rates. So just as we have done with 8-week courses, we will carefully monitor the outcomes of our Ivy Online, and we'll share them with all of you as we ensure we are offering those students who, in many cases, have options but to gain that post-secondary experience online, as the rest of their life is pretty crazy, like the single mom or the working adult or that rural dual enrollment high school student, and many, many others where that online experience is truly their best option. Now, just in time for the start of classes, our OIC team launched the long-anticipated Ivy Mobile, a phone app that is customizable for all 18 campuses. As of yesterday morning, the app had been downloaded by more than 20,000 users. And as you can see here from some of the reviews, students are already expressing their gratitude for the service. We will continue to add more features to our our app as we go forward. Ball State University is beginning a new marketing campaign aimed at transfer students. The intent is to incent students to transfer to Ball State by providing financial incentives to do so. As part of that campaign, they will be providing larger financial incentives, as much as $4,500 over 2 years, for students to complete that associate degree first before they enroll at Ball State. They are also providing students considering transfer with information about reverse transfer initiatives. This new campaign is called Transfer Flight Tabs, and the material distributed will include information about transfers from both Ivy Tech and Vincennes and will include our logo. More information about this initiative will be available on the Ball State website. A tradition that began here in 1983 and is the college's highest honor is the annual awarding of the Glenn W. Sample Founders Award for Excellence in Instruction. The award recognizes an individual who exemplifies the mission of Ivy Tech. This year's winner is Autumn McNichols from the Muncie campus. I've invited Autumn here today to share her story. Autumn, welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elsperman. I began my career with Ivy Tech Community College in January of 2005 when I was hired by Mary Hennahan to teach at satellite campuses around Indianapolis. I remember interviewing with her that day and being handed the books at the completion of that interview with a welcome aboard from Mary. Little did I know how much my life was about to change. 2 weeks into my first semester here, I told a colleague of mine who also was teaching for Ivy Tech that I knew I had found my true calling. I've never regretted those words, nor have I ever regretted my decision to engage in what I see as the most critical and important occupation in this country, teaching. In January of 2011, I was blessed to be hired as an assistant professor at the Muncie campus, and my goal quickly became to reach full professorship. In August of 2018, I was awarded a promotion to F5, and at that point, I just felt like it confirmed this is really where I was meant to be. One of the nicest compliments that has ever been paid to me was when Wayne Johnson, our Vice Chancellor of Enrollment Services in Muncie, referred to me as a walking bottle of passion. I love that compliment, and I hope that that passion always translates into the classroom, into my lectures, as well as in all of the relationships that I have with my students. I believe my success in the classroom centers around my own exceptional educational experiences. I am a first-generation college student. My father owned a plumbing and heating business, and my mother was a cosmetologist. School was everything good in my life, everything good for me. I found comfort in education and in the classroom, and it was obvious pretty early on that I was a nerd. I love to read, I love to watch the news, and my parents really pushed me to discover these things through education and through books. Neither of my parents had the opportunity to attend college, yet they instilled in me so many good traits that allowed me to be successful academically. My father taught me my exceptional work ethic. He also taught me my strength and my independence and my assertiveness, while my mother gave me my very caring spirit and always reminded me that success really was the result of failure and then getting back up. I will say I'm not sure which one of them gave me the smart mouth, but that's another story for another day. As an Ivy Tech employee and educator, I have been very fortunate to surround myself with people who truly love our students and our mission and the work we do here as much as I do. Sharing a common belief in our work and always striving to be excellent in and out of the classroom are traits that I truly value and traits that I look for in my colleagues. I know I am a better person and a better educator when I'm in the company of exceptional people. Positivity fuels positive results, and I enjoy the collegiality of many of my peers. But two women who have had a profound impact on my life during my time here at Ivy Tech are Dr. Mia Johnson and Miss Elka Grog. Each day, they remind me of the power of the work that we are doing, and they themselves are such strong women that they really push me to always know my worth and to continue to believe in my ability to change lives every single day. They also have supported every crazy idea I have ever wanted to do and implement with my students, and it is a known fact that the faith that they have had in me has really allowed me to blossom, not just in the classroom, but also in the community. There are many student stories that I could share with you, but one of my absolute favorites is that of Kendall Barrett. Kendall is a first-generation college student. He also is a veteran And he had spent most of his post-military career working on the railroad. He came to Ivy Tech to earn his associates in automotive technology. And after he successfully completed that degree, he came back. And he wanted to complete a second degree, which he did successfully, and he earned his associates in liberal arts. Kendall is one of the hardest, smartest, just fantastic students I've ever encountered. And his love of learning was so refreshing for me to see as an educator. I had the privilege, and I do consider it a privilege, of being his professor for 5 psychology courses and being present of one of our finest days in the college year, and that is graduation. So the interesting story about Kendall is that he later became my mechanic because, let's face it, with a degree from Ivy Tech, he's working circles around his fellow mechanics. And then he was hired as an adjunct faculty member on the Muncie campus in our automotive program. So I tell everyone what a wonderful moment it is when your student becomes your friend, then your mechanic, and then your colleague. Anybody who spends more than a couple of minutes with me would tell you that a conversation around education is always going to include my passion for and my belief in service learning. I believe service learning has been the absolute most critical component to the success that I've had in my classroom and with my students. All of my students each semester participate in service learning, and I'm a total believer in its ability to change the direction of all of our courses. We do have the opportunity to partner with many local agencies, which have included Muncie Mission, ARF, and most recently, YWCA. One of the most memorable moments for me as a teacher came in the spring of 2017. TJ, a student of mine, was wearing a brand new pair of Air Jordans, and one of the men from Muncie Mission who was working alongside TJ that day told him, I love your shoes. I love those. And that individual, whose name was Mike, shared he'd been in the program for several years. He had successfully completed all of the requirements of the program, and he was just about ready to move into transitional housing, which was a very big step for him. TJ literally took off his shoes and handed them to Mike. He later said he needs some nice shoes. He said Mike needs some nice shoes. He's getting ready to start the next journey of his life. And he said, I just want him to have a reminder that somebody believes in him and somebody knows the power of this remarkable journey. TJ later shared with me in his reflection piece that he had been through many struggles himself, but thankfully addiction had never been one of those. And he said, I just know Mike persevered in the light of adversity, and I want him to feel good about himself as he starts in this next phase of the program. Now, the really neat ending to that story is that I had the opportunity to see Mike a few weeks ago. Mike has indeed moved into independent housing and has secured local employment with a cleaning company. And he was washing windows at our Patterson site, and I came out of the building, and when I walked past him, Mike stopped me and showed me that he was wearing those Air Jordans. For a teacher, it is truly selflessness at its best, and that is a lesson that I think it would be hard for me to replicate in the confines of a classroom. Another really quick story, if you will indulge me, Dr. Ellspermann. This past spring, for the first time, my students spent the day volunteering at Muncie ARF, and 3 animals were adopted that day by 3 of my students. So I think they are more than happy to have us back. Winning the Founders Award is an absolute dream come true. I, like so many of our faculty, started as adjunct, and then I impatiently bided my time until a full-time position became available in Muncie. And when I was offered a position as a professor, I jumped at the opportunity. To be nominated for the President's Award at the Muncie campus was in and of itself a huge distinction. But to be selected as the Founders Award winner is It's just utterly humbling. And I consider it a true honor to have won that award in the company of the finest educators that we have in this state. After winning, my husband said to me, well, you had 3 goals when you started with Ivy Tech. 1, you wanted to become full-time. Check. The second was to become a full professor. Check. And the third was to win the Founders Award, which I will check even though I'm still in disbelief a little bit. So my husband said to me, what's next now that you've accomplished those? And I simply looked at him and said, I'm going to go back to work Monday, and I'm going to figure out how I can be even better for my students. In my mind, there's still work to be done, and there's so much more that I can learn. Be the best that I can be for our students. Are my biggest and most important why. They deserve a quality education with professors who are devoted to advancing their own knowledge and skills. And they also deserve us pushing them when sometimes they don't believe in their own abilities. I want to push myself as much as I push them. And I truly do believe that Ivy Tech is the best college in this state for making our students' dreams happen. In closing, I will tell you there's a quote that hangs in my workspace that summarizes how I feel about my role as a professor at Ivy Tech. It says, the best thing about being a teacher is that it matters. The hardest thing about being a teacher is that it matters every day. Where better to perfect the craft of teaching than right here at Ivy Tech Community College.
Wow, Autumn, that is outstanding. Thank you. Thank you for sharing and inspiring and helping us understand what brought you here, what keeps you here, we need you here, why our students need you here. And congratulations on winning the Founders Award. We don't want you to go anywhere. We want you to keep doing it every day. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, this past February, Ivy Tech added a new goal to our strategic plan. Goal 8, diversity, equity, and belonging. Our newest goal has continued to gain momentum over the last few months, and we have already begun to see some achievement. Today I've asked Doran Moreland, our Interim Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Belonging, to provide us with an update. Welcome, Doran.
Thank you, Dr. Elserman. First, I'm pleased to announce the creation of the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Belonging that came about through the Systems Office restructure. This office includes 2 new statewide executive director positions focusing on student equity and employee equity. The Assistant Vice President for Student Advocacy, Carrie Traeger, and the Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Belonging. We'll be working through the month of September to interview the applicants for the 2 new positions, and I hope to have them filled by October the 1st. I hope you'll join me in welcoming them to the Ivy Tech family when they join our college later this fall. Now, I'd like to hand it back to Dr. Elserman for an update on Goal 8.
Well, great. The strategic planning team has worked intentionally to ensure Goal 8 strategies, tactics, and methods are developed with your ideas and feedback. Mapping sessions using the Simplex process were initiated throughout the month of May. Feedback and ideas from those sessions were used to create 5 strategies within Goal 8. During September, our strategic planning team will be visiting a number of campuses to continue listening and working with faculty, staff, and students to flesh out the rest of the strategic plan. Goal 8 will establish a sustainable culture of diversity, equity, and belonging, and these 5 strategies. Strategy 8.1 is eliminating systemic inequities for students. Strategy 8.2, leveraging leadership's power and privilege to drive positive change. Strategy 8.3, implement new structures to ensure faculty and staff diversity. Strategy 8.4, which is to increase diversity in leadership. And finally, strategy 8.5, ensuring everyone in our college community feels they belong. The Goal 8 team has held their first meeting, and the strategy teams will begin meeting in September to create specific tactics to ensure this work continues. Now, all of us in the college know a year and a half into our strategic plan how that work goes forward. So our next milestone for Goal 8 is to present the strategies, tactics, and metrics to the State Board of Trustees in October. We will absolutely share an update on the goal's progress then. In the meantime, I want to thank everyone in the college community for embracing Goal 8 and to ensuring diversity, equity, and belonging is truly essential and a part of our college culture. So back to you.
Thank you. I'd like to call back to a statewide email I sent last week, which was stating the need to formalize our diversity leads across the state of Indiana as identified through the Diversity, Equity, and Belonging Hub process, which included naming a person from each campus and providing training for them. In fact, right now, our diversity leads are participating in Simplex training right above us to increase their understanding of creative problem solving and for bringing back ideas to their campuses. Additional trainings will include addressing implicit bias and supporting workplace differences. Now, please join me in welcoming our statewide diversity leads and find the time to introduce yourself to your campus diversity lead as well. Each individual was selected based on their skills and their passion for advancing Ivy Tech with respect to diversity, equity, and belonging. And while these individuals will serve as the primary campus contact for diversity training, talent, and recruitment and community engagement, they alone cannot tackle this work. For us to be successful as a college and as a community, we need to partner together to tackle these large and important issues. Your diversity leads and all members of our team are here to serve you. Please let us know what you like and let us know areas where we can improve as we advance diversity, equity, and belonging together.
Thank you, Doran. Your leadership in moving Ivy Tech forward has been so important. The efforts to represent diverse communities we serve, to create an equitable experience for all of our students and employees, and to ensure everyone in our college community feels they belong here. So thank you, Doran.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, next up, I have asked Aaron Bowdy, our Vice President, Business, Logistics, and Supply Chain, to provide us with an industry update. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you, Dr. Ellspermann. I want to take a moment to update the college community on our progress in the School of Business, Logistics, and Supply Chain, as well as the School of Public Affairs and Social Services. Our faculty have been hard at work working, developing and supporting these programs and drive academic quality and enrollment. Today, I will share some of our successes and some of the plans we have for the two schools. I'll start by giving you an update on supply chain management, given that it has been identified as a critical economic sector in the state of Indiana. As you can see on this slide, it's not only Indiana's centralized location that makes it a supply-centric state. We have FedEx's second largest hub and fastest growing hub, as well as both DHL and UPS on our south of our southeastern border and southern border, respectively. That in and of itself puts Indiana in the center of the global supply chain. But add to that, the Chicago rail yards are just to our north and bring in freight from Asia through the West Coast ports. Indiana is positioned to dominate if we can train our workforce. Our faculty have identified the fact that not many people truly understand what supply chain management is or careers associated with the program. So let me start there. Supply chain management consists of a set of approaches to efficiently integrate the flow of materials, finances, and information from suppliers, manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, and retailers to the final customer and back again. It is a critical part of manufacturing and even hospitals. Even if you don't have a large UPS or Amazon or FedEx in your town, there are supply chains in your community, and a lot of them. In fact, there are 73,000 supply chain jobs across the state with a median income of more than $25 an hour. There are some misconceptions about supply chain management that I would like to correct. While frontline workers that drive semi-trucks, fork trucks, and others that do frontline work are vital to the supply chain, in our academic program, we train managers and supply chain professionals. Many of these graduates do manage on the floor in a production environment on the manufacturing floor or distribution floor. But even more common, they are working in offices, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling operations. They run companies and plants. After all, who better to run a company than people that understand how materials, suppliers, money, and information all work together to get the right product or deliver the right service in the place and at the time it is needed at a competitive price. Business is a broad sector, and that's why we need accountants accounting, Bow graduates managing our offices and administrating applications, entrepreneurs starting businesses, hospitality management graduates managing our restaurants and hotels, and yes, supply chain managers managing the supply chain and production. I want to thank all the campuses that have invested resources in supply chain management. Supply chain management as enrollment has risen 52% over the past year and 79% over the past 2 years. The supply chain management faculty have positioned Ivy Tech to grow completions as well by adding a supply chain management workforce degree, AAS, and TC to the existing transfer AAS pathway and certificate. Faculty have also been hard at work on other initiatives, such as Michelle Hagen-Short in Fort Wayne, developing a co-curricular project management set of courses. They're just being completed, but are already starting to buzz. Kevin O'Neill and his Saturday Fast Track cohort program in South Bend, Elkhart, which allows adults to quickly get through the program without disrupting their work week. Jessica Pitstick and Sherry Shipley in Lafayette, looking to secure a dual credit pathway for their campus. And last but not least, Meryl Yancey and Chris Reidner in Indianapolis with their boots on the ground approach to promoting the program at every possible event. Manufacturers, distributor, hospitals, and logistics-related companies are looking for these graduates, and the market is growing rapidly, with private colleges such as Valparaiso, University of Evansville, Butler, Marion, Notre Dame, and adding supply chain programs to the already existing programs in the educational landscape at University of Indianapolis, Indiana University, Purdue University, and Ball State. Over the next year, it will be important to engage these entities to articulate our AS and supply chain to these programs to further promote growth. CDL driver training non-credit programs across the state are also growing. We grew almost 25% over the past year, and with campuses figuring out funding options as well as new campuses starting up programs, we are forecasting a large increase this year as well. As an update, the CDL Plus certificate has been approved by the Higher Learning Commission and is now will be submitted to the Department of Education for financial aid approval. Other programs in the School of Business are also forging ahead with ways to attract and complete students. The BOAT program, for example, developed the CINS 101 test out option to help with the difficulty in serving a student base with a wide range of computer skills that are necessary to be successful in college. The BOAT program was also developing a Salesforce pathway to prepare students for very high-paying jobs using that product. The Business Administration program has begun partnerships with the Indiana Land Title Association, along with 3 other insurance entities, to provide work and learn experiences for students and introduce them to the Indiana insurance industry. In the School of Public Affairs and Social Services, there are partnerships being developed for fire science and homeland security in different parts of the state. Thank you, President Ellspermann, for starting a scholarship fund that starts this coming spring for volunteer firefighters to promote public safety in all of our communities. The fund is for active volunteer firefighters to take one of our many programs and encourage people to enlist in this critical volunteer pool that saves lives, especially in our more rural communities. The hospitality management programs, which are very active in partnerships individually in their communities, have also been supportive in developing casino courses to support that industry and work with various large elder care companies to provide training so our elderly can enjoy great service, great food. And it is so inspiring to work with nursing homes and entities that truly want to create the best experience for their residents. And one last program note. Human Services and the School of Business have accreditation visits coming up. next year. And I appreciate the past and future support to help prepare these programs for the visit and self-study. As part of Strategy 4.2, the curriculum committees are currently pursuing work and learn options to embed in their programs. I cannot tell you how positive faculty in these two schools have been in supporting those opportunities for our students. It's truly inspiring. Thank you again to all the faculty and staff for their hard work, and thank you, Sue, for the opportunity to share our good works.
Well, thank you, Aaron. Thanks for your leadership in preparing Indiana's workforce in these very key economic sectors.
All right, thank you.
So many of you statewide have focused heavily on our K-14 vision as it aligns to our strategic plan. Thanks goes to Rebecca Ray Schulte, serving as our acting vice president for K-14 initiatives and statewide partnerships, for continuing the great work that was started by Dr. Katie Jenner. I wanted to provide you with some important updates and tangible outcomes of our collective work so far. Perkins 5, which is also called the Strengthening Career and Technical Education for the 21st Century Act, that's a mouthful, provides new opportunities for states to improve career and technical education and enables more flexibility for states to meet the unique needs of their learners, educators, and employers. Within Perkins 5 is the required connection between secondary schools and institutions of higher education, opportunities for high school students to earn post-secondary credentials while in high school and to prepare for next generation workforce. As a result of Perkins amendments, the Indiana Governor's Workforce Cabinet released several recommendations for how the state might address CTE programming. First and foremost, they recommended that students should graduate high school as either employable in a career that will offer self-sufficiency or enrolled in post-secondary education. This will require revamping K-12 CTE, and in an effort to do that, the Governor's Workforce Cabinet recommends utilizing what we call backward design methods, that is, starting with industry needs, then designed post-secondary curriculum, and then back into the high school curriculum. Pathways within K-12 would be aligned to help Indiana students secure the competencies needed to earn a stackable post-secondary credential while they're still in high school. To achieve this goal, the Governor's Workforce Cabinet is working collaboratively with Ivy Tech and Vincennes, along with the Department of Education and the Commission for Higher Education, to really rethink and revitalize the current K-12 CTE programming, utilizing what we call that intentional CTE pathways, which are aligned with post-secondary, Ivy Tech, and Vincennes. As these efforts are undertaken, prioritization will focus first on those programs that are Workforce Ready Grant eligible, what we call next level jobs, as these programs are linked to the high wage, high demand careers within our state. The Governor's Workforce Cabinet has recommended 35 CTE programs for Pathways construction during this 2019-2020 academic year to roll out next year in 2021 academic year. Those prioritized programs can be found on this slide. You'll note the high demand areas of advanced manufacturing, health sciences, and information technology, as well as education, business and transportation, agriculture, and the construction trades. Ivy Tech curriculum committees will have the opportunity to play an integral role in this work by sharing expertise surrounding their programmatic curriculum, examining current gaps that exist on the Ivy Tech and Department of Education crosswalk to ensure alignment of our curriculum. This may require both strategically recommending courses for inclusion on the Ivy Tech DOE crosswalk and also intentionally removing courses which result in what we call those random acts of dual credit. In addition to providing the transfer opportunities afforded through the statewide transfer gen ed core, or we call the STGEC, Ivy Tech has the opportunity to pave the way for post-secondary completions for high school students within the CTE programming. Through strategic and intentional dual credit and dual enrollment pathways, we can ensure that high school students have the knowledge, the skills, and the certifications needed to enter the workforce upon graduation. As we prepare secondary students to enter these pathways, we have the opportunity to educate these students on the advantages of stacking those credentials into further Ivy Tech programming after high school and maybe on to bachelor's and beyond. Thank you in advance to our curriculum committees for the sizable work that's coming your way and for sharing your expertise with our K-12 partners as we all work together to align programming with our existing curriculum. Well, as we continue our tradition of featuring chancellors, I'm excited to welcome Leanne Crooks from the Terre Haute campus to join us today. Welcome, Leanne. How about telling us a little bit about your time at Ivy Tech?
All right. Thank you, Sue, for having me. I started with the college about 26 years ago, so I've had a quite long tenure with the college. Fortunately for me, I've been at the Terre Haute campus that entire time. Like many employees, though, I started part-time teaching as an adjunct instructor, so there's a lot to be said about my tenure with the college. First, I'm old. Second, I bleed green. And third, I was very fortunate to find my passion for the mission of Ivy Tech very early on in my career. I have an immense amount of gratitude to the college for giving me the opportunity to grow professionally and to throughout the years, and I've had the privilege to work alongside the very, very best. This great group that you see in this picture, this was their serious take. They make me so proud to be the chancellor of the Terre Haute campus every day. When I say that they are my team, I mean the entire team of Ivy Tech at Terre Haute, all of the employees.
Well, tell us a little bit more also now about Terre Haute. What are the strengths of your campus and the community?
All right. Well, the Terre Haute campus serves the counties of Vermilion, Park, Vigo, Clay, and Sullivan. And then we split Greene County with Bloomington, and then we also split Davies and Knox County with Evansville. We're very rural. The only county that is not completely rural is Vigo County, with a population of 150,000, so not very large either. Fortunately for us, we're on the Illinois border, which is just about 10 miles from the Terre Haute campus, which allows us to work closely with Illinois businesses and Illinois students as well. In Terre Haute, Ivy Tech is one of 4 higher education institutions within the service area. We have existing and growing partnerships with all of the 3 other institutions. The 3 presidents and I meet regularly as we continue to grow our partnerships, and we seek ways to help the community use us as leverage for economic development. Throughout my extended time with the college, I've witnessed the continual elevation of Ivy Tech's value in the community. I believe that the recognition is at an all-time high, particularly as community leaders are recognizing the critical role of the community college. As far as I can remember, we've always been a strong partner, but the partnership opportunities just continue to be elevated. We are considered a critical player in community conversations. As an example, Duke Energy recently awarded us, along with the Bloomington campus and the Indianapolis campus, a grant to help fight the opioid crisis, providing scholarships to future licensed addiction counselors. And this is a picture from that check presentation. Recognition of this type creates a ripple effect for us as we grow those partnerships that lead to new students. In addition, Terre Haute just launched a community plan of which Ivy Tech is a critical piece. And we also work closely with our regional group, as you know, that's very important, called West Central 2025. Unfortunately, our service area has one of the highest poverty rates in the state of Indiana. And so this plan and our work with them is critical for moving our community forward as we help families break that cycle of generational poverty.
These are all good things that you're doing. What are some of the new initiatives that are coming this fall to the Terre Haute campus?
Well, we're excited. This fall, we were able to launch the Elevate Minority Program, which is mirrored after the Bowen Scholarship Program in Indianapolis. We are excited to launch our first cohort. Recipients will attend a monthly group meeting for professional development and receive a $2,000 scholarship to Ivy Tech Terre Haute, renewable for 2 years. This picture is from the orientation a couple of weeks ago with the Bowens there. We had 23 applicants for the 10 slots. We conducted interviews with 16 and awarded this amazing group of 10 the inaugural scholarships. Another exciting opportunity for us this fall is with another community partner who is placing a mental health professional on our campus full time, which, as you know, is very important. Yeah. So although we had a mental health interns on our campus with another partner in the community, this partnership will place a full-time, consistent person on the campus to develop continual relationships with our students. And finally, we just held our scholarship reception where we awarded laptops to 40 incoming students.
Wow.
As you can see them, we had one who was really excited. Our College Connection coaches, which this is one of our coaches in high schools, are key to helping students apply for these scholarships. The retention rate for these students is so high, we intend to increase the awards next year and continue to look for donors to support the program. We have many existing and new initiatives on the horizon to continue to provide for our students with support and services that they need, but we are certainly very excited to share these three that we believe are really having a big impact for our students.
Wow. Leanne, thank you for being with us for these 26 years since you were 3.
Exactly.
And your service to Ivy Tech.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to extend a huge thank you to the more than 160 volunteers across the state and other members of our Ivy Tech team that made this year's booth at the Indiana Black Expo Summer Celebration a huge success. This was our 3rd consecutive year at the event where we have a large presence. That means 4,000 square feet of conference space to showcase several of our programs to Hoosiers, enabling them the opportunity to explore high-demand careers. Our exhibit was open July 19th through the 21st, and it featured several interactive booths, including welding and forklift simulators, Fanuc robots, nursing simulations, the STEM trailer, and virtual reality goggles, to name a few. In total, we had representation from design technology, automotive, IT, biotechnology, construction technology, HVAC, nursing, surgical technology, supply chain, and agriculture. To help guests with questions or interested in a next step, student ambassadors, workforce and career folks, admissions, financial aid experts were all on hand. And I must note how wonderful the team of greeters and runners were to welcome our guests and keep things stocked as people moved through. We even had some line dancers some of the time. A large portion of our guests are schools and families, and it was truly a delight to see so much excitement from Indiana's youth as they learned about the possibilities they have for a future career. And equally important, this event was a perfect opportunity for recent high school graduates and adults to see what high-wage, high-demand jobs are available right now. Well, and coming up, we have yet another great opportunity for School of IT students and faculty. Ivy Tech partner and community leader AT&T is offering a fantastic opportunities for students, faculty, businesses throughout the state of Indiana to participate in a hackathon for FirstNet. FirstNet is a new network designed for first responders, fire, and law enforcement to have highly secure data connections required in crisis situations. This event is going to be held at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway September 13th and 14th. AT&T has invited companies, universities, and community organizations from all across the state to participate in a hackathon to build mobile apps that will help respond to emergencies, to fight crime, and to make our communities ever safer. By hacking for first responder mobile apps, developers can mature their ideas, get involved in an exciting community, and create something that will further the greater social good. Our goal is to have 100 faculty, staff, and students participate in this event. Registrations and attendance are free, and they're open right now. All Ivy Tech students and faculty who wish to participate must sign up with their Ivy Tech email address. For more information, contact Linda Calvin, the VP of IT for Career and Workforce. So that draws an end to our update. I want you to mark your calendars now for our next President's Update on Friday, November 1st, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So I guess this is the time to say, where in the world did the summer go? I hope each of you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. and a wonderful fall semester, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks again for joining this episode of Our College, Your Voices. We hope you continue to enjoy having the President's Updates provided in your feed. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNMTweets. Our producer is Ann Penny Valentine. Ann is on Twitter at IndyPenny. You can reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivtech.edu. Leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049. Our website is ivtech.edu/podcast, and production assistance for this and every episode is provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah DeWitt, and the Ivy Tech Community College marketing team. Our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. Theme music, recording, and post-production services provided by Jen Eads at the Brossie Broadcasting Company. We will see you next time on Our College, Your Voices.